Hello, everyone. Welcome to my first interview episode of Coffee and Notes. And today I'm super excited to be interviewing a great colleague and friend, Allan Whitehead, Director of Bands at Elkhart High School. I met Allan when I did a semester at DePauw University, and Allan played trumpet in the same ensemble as I did. And he is just such a great guy. He was a mentor at DePauw, and anytime I had a question, I would definitely ask Allan. He's just so kind, considerate, and he's so intentional with everything that he does, and his students are so lucky to have him. So I'm super excited to talk to Allan today about how he recently moved up in his role and the advice that he's going to give. So stay tuned. Here we go.
There you go.
There you go. Hey, Allan, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hanging in there with all this craziness going on.
Yeah, it's going. It's
Yes,
really going.
that's good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Coffee and Notes, and I'm super excited to have you as my first interview person. So, woo! So, thank you so much again for doing this. And I guess I'll just get started with the question that I plan on asking everyone and that question is, if you were to go back to your beginning teacher self, what advice would you give yourself, and why would you give that to yourself?
Man, so I spent a lot of time really thinking about this because you know, I don't know. This is going to be my third year, and literally it seems like it's been a decade. But you know, it's funny because like all the things that, experienced teachers tell you to um that they give you as advice, you really should take their advice. And I tried to go out of my way um, quite a bit when I was in college and when I was about to start my job. Um, you know, really paying attention to what people had said to me and what to really watch for and things like that. And but again, it's never enough. But so I try to keep that in mind. But so I have a few. You can cut me off whenever. But like my first one is, be yourself as a teacher. Don't try to be somebody else. um, you know, I tried really hard at first trying to emulate all these great teachers that I had seen throughout when I was in college and through, field studies and student teaching and everything. I thought, man, if I just like copy and pasted them,
Mm-hmm.
into my own teaching, like how they said things and how they did things, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. Um, but we're all different for a reason.
Yes.
Um, you know, I I think we might, almost be opposites in that way, where it's like, you're very, kind of bubbly and you're like
Yeah.
super like excited and happy. And it's like me, I'm more, you know, I try to get right to the point, and we obviously still have fun, but it's just like, it's
Yeah.
two very different ways of going at it. If I tried to be you, or if you tried to be me, like I don't think we would get the same results.
Correct. Yeah, and that's
Um,
so interesting that you say that because, like, I feel like going through college and, even in high school, you're really trying to navigate who you are as a person. So, like, going into your first year of teaching, you might not even be the person that you're, supposed to be like 5 years later down the road.
oh
And that's
yeah.
okay, like you just kind of have to be who you are in that moment and really decide, like, I know that I'm a bubbly person. So when I get up on the podium, I should let that radiate too and not try to be someone, like while I do have my serious moments, like I don't have to be serious all the time, for example. And by serious, I mean like hardcore, I guess. But I
Right.
know I exactly see what you're saying. So it is difficult to kind of navigate who you exactly are as a teacher, but your experiences will lead you there too.
I mean, my advice would be like, take all of those things from all those great teachers that you've seen or, have, student taught under or whatever, and, take what they're saying and, say it in your own way and do it in your own way. And I think you'll yield a lot better, results from that. And once I started to do that more and stop trying to be stop trying to be somebody else, you know, it, it got a lot better. And like the kids, they can see if you're like being fake or like if you're not being
Yeah.
yourself. Like the kids always tell me, they're like, Mr. White, you don't have to be so happy. Like, we know. I'm just like, oh, shut up. But like, seriously, though, like the kids can totally see, um, they can cut through any BS, man. They're not dumb. They
Right.
really can. So it's not even worth trying. Like, really try and do things your own way, and take the advice, or take what other people are saying, those great teachers are saying, and just make it your own. And it's going to be a lot better.
Right, and, like, also, like, high schoolers are looking at you, and they're also trying to figure out who they are, so if you are on this if you're this teacher that's gonna, pretend to be somebody else, what does that teach the students that you're teaching right now? Like,
Right.
are they ever gonna be able to find out who they really are and explore that if they have this teacher that's, emulating exactly what the world, society is trying to do, like, pretend to be this perfect person or pretend to be this perfect human being, and I think that's why we went into teaching is because we want to teach them, hey, you are unique and that's beautiful the way that you are. So I think that's definitely something that we all should consider when we're on the podium. Like, how can I teach rhythm using Olivia's personality, like, or how
Yep.
can I teach intonation using Alan's personality? And so the students can see who I am. So, and I think that's how better relationships form too, stronger
Oh, yeah.
relationships between teacher students too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. you
Nice.
know, and just I don't know how long you want this to be, but I could go on for days, but I think this is such a good thing because, especially now, this, it's being taped on, we're about to go into school during a pandemic. I mean,
Mhm.
and then I can't, being a first year teacher or a young teacher is hard enough. And then you just throw a pandemic on top of that. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And like, this is awesome. And like, I hope that this can like really help a lot of people. And because as many resources you can get is always good.
Yes.
One thing that people always told me in any, podcast I'd ever listened to or anything that was, teaching or music related was, and I think this might really be the biggest piece of advice. And I kind of saved it for a second because, I felt like I tried to do this a lot, and still do, is you need to find mentors.
Hmm.
Um, you need to find mentor teachers. That is like, if I had to put something at the very top that I would tell a new teacher, is like, find somebody that you can latch onto, and ask for every bit of like piece of help that you can get. Because I was really lucky, like in my school district that I came into, like I worked with an amazing colleague at the middle school I taught at, and it was just, it was amazing. And I learned stuff throughout, just watching her teach. I would ask her questions like, why did you teach stuff that way? And
Hmm.
just all those things that you get teaching somebody every day. Um, you know, I I still do this. Um, I ask people to come in, like experienced teachers, retired teachers, if you're lucky enough to have a lot of those in your area. And again, I understand that all of our districts are different, our areas are different. But in my specific case, we have a decent number of retired band directors who are very successful in their teaching careers, who are on our private lesson staff and stuff like that. I asked them to come out, and watch me teach, and clinic our band, but mostly they're there for me.
Yeah.
And I think once the kids see that, they're like, you know, I'm learning right along with you guys. So
Right.
I think a level of respect opens up between the kids
Yes.
and you, and that has just, it's been great. And there's been so many things through bringing in teachers and watching them teach and getting feedback, that I never would have thought of.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm so glad somebody pointed that out to me. And now, it just goes right into my teacher toolbox.
Right, because I feel like sometimes after we graduate college, it's like, I got this, like I'm ready to take on the world and I'm ready to teach. And it's okay to have those moments of reflection where you're like, actually, I need help. And I feel like in our society, we just look at help as such a bad thing. Like going to tutoring when I was in middle school was like embarrassing, like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be that kid that goes to tutoring. But if you as a teacher show that you go to tutoring, for example,
Right.
I think the students love that. They're like, wow, that's really, inspiring to know that, that
even
teach
if they
it
don't
all.
say it, like
Yes,
even if the kids never say a word about it, it's like it there's just an unspoken level of like respect. It's like, all right, man, we're both trying to learn this stuff together.
right.
Um, that it opens up between the students, and like eventually, if you do it enough, it just becomes normal. It's just like part of band. There's just this old guy, or old woman
Yeah.
just sitting in the corner over here, you know just don't
Yes,
pay any attention to them. It's just like it just becomes normal after a while. And
right. And I feel like even like the next day after you have somebody watch you teach, you can like tell the class, like Mrs. So and so came in yesterday and watched me teach, or Mr. So and so came and watched me teach, and here's what they said about my teaching. And I wanted to share that with you guys because I feel like that's important, to see that I'm growing too. And you don't have to phrase it that way, you can say it
right.
a different way, but I think it's important that our students know that we're learning too, right along with them, like you said. And I still call my high school band director. LOL, my dog's like trying to get in. But I still call my high school band director and, I ask him questions and he's willing to help. And, it's honestly a great professional relationship that is going to help me in the future and, help my students too, more importantly. So,
Yeah, I think a lot of people might think, especially, and I had thought this at first too, and it's almost like you just have to bite the bullet and do it.
right.
It's
Right.
really kind of hard to be like, man, I really need some help.
Yes.
Um, it's, just because like you said, like, it's kind of just how our culture is.
Mm-hmm.
And at first it can be really hard to kind of just bite the bullet and do it. But man, it's once you do it, it makes you so much better.
Yeah, so like takes your teaching from this level from here to like boom, like way
Yeah.
up here. And like not only your teaching, but also like the impact that it has on your students because you become a better teacher, your students become better people. So I think that it all just relates and it's awesome. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And, I just one more. I
yes,
mean,
yes, keep
no, you're
spilling.
good. Like just one more is just, and this one like has nothing to do with like music or band itself. It's like, um, being a band director or any music teacher really, is, it's super time consuming. Like there's no hiding that. It's extremely time consuming, and it's it's stressful, and you put a lot into it every day. And you know, there, especially like my first year, I walk out and I'd be just like mentally just dead, man, just
Yeah,
mentally exhausted.
yes, I
Like I
felt
can't even
that.
talk. Yeah. And it's like you gotta find something that you like doing outside of music and outside of band and teaching. Like in my opinion, like there has to be that other outlet of like
Yeah.
happiness or like personal growth. Like I run
Yes.
now. Like I started that in college, and like I was like, well, I gotta keep doing it because I gotta find something to do that's not band because I do
Yes.
band so much. And it literally, especially in the really stressful times of the year, it is like a saving grace. It's like, okay, I could shut all the band off. I'm
Yes.
just gonna like run until and that would be, if not bigger than the last thing I said. I know I just keep going bigger than what I said, but
No, it's all good.
um like for your own sake, you have to find something to do outside of it, whatever it is. And like you see all these statistics about teachers who are, the only what, like 30% of teachers, 30% of teachers like quit within the first 5 years, and
Right.
it's even worse for band directors. You
True.
know, it's like you gotta find something outside of it because it will consume you. It
Yes.
literally, like, being a band director will consume you if you're not careful, because
Mhm.
there's always, send one more email, study one more measure. you know it's just it's never done, and
Mhm.
you got to find something outside to do to stay sane.
Yes, I totally agree. Like you said, there's always one more email or one more measure you can study. Like that is so true. But I think something that helped me too was I started putting when I answer emails on my name tag. Like I usually respond to like it says like after I say all the best, comma, then it says Mrs. Brooks, assistant band director, and then it says I typically answer emails from these times. So that way it keeps me accountable when I log onto my email and I'm like, oh man, like somebody sent me an email at 5 in the morning. Like now I really need to answer. It's like 5:02. I just woke up, and it's like, wait a second. I put on there that I answer my emails from 6 to 7 before school starts. So I'm gonna take my hour to get ready for work, calm myself
Yep.
down, and then get ready, and then I'll respond to their email. Like so, I feel like things like that definitely keep me in track, and I feel um, like you said, going back to just like having somebody to talk to, like have if you're feeling overwhelmed about like studying a score or something, get with someone that you enjoy being with and just go to dinner. You don't have to talk about band. You can just
Yep.
go ahead and do something completely different. Go do cooking, go running, whatever you do, and you don't have to listen to like a measure of music while you do it. It's okay like to take a break,
Hmm.
like cuz music is so always surrounding us. Like sometimes I'm driving, I hear a pop tune and I'm like, oh, we play that in pep band. And I start thinking about pep band. I'm like, wait, just
Right.
turn off the radio because I'm going to
Yep.
thinking about work again. And like, it's okay to take those moments while we do love what we do and we're passionate about it and we're passionate about what our students are doing. It's okay to take a break from all the craziness that goes on and all the good craziness. I mean that in the best
Yeah.
way. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's such good advice and so good. So, I wanted to ask you actually. So, I know you just recently moved up in your position, and I just wanted to briefly talk about that. Like, can you tell us a little bit about that experience and what that took to kind of raise in your position and so on and so forth?
Yeah. It's interesting because, a lot of people always say, it's like, you're going up to the high school, you're raising up to the high school. It's, I will always count my blessings that, the bulk of my beginning teaching was in middle school, in the
Yes.
trenches with the middle schoolers. And, you know, teaching the third band at the high school, second band at the high school. I will always count my blessings that that is where this all began. And if if you are going into teaching, like that's where you're gonna learn your stuff the most. And but yeah, so I started it. I started half my day was in a middle school, and half my day would be at a high school, and I did that up until we broke for COVID this year.
Yep.
And but our school district is in the process of combining two high schools,
Hmm.
um,
Okay.
into Elkhart High School, and so obviously that would mean one high school band program. And it's interesting. It's just I just went through the interview process um, and happened to come out on top of the interview. There's nothing super crazy. I just kind of wanted to see where I was and,
Yeah.
what a head director interview would be like. And, the cards just happened to fall the way they did.
Well, that's
Um,
awesome.
and I'm super excited for it. We're kind of already in the process of doing everything for that. But yeah, it's very different than doing or than teaching, being assistant or co-director at the middle school,
Sure.
a lot more behind the desk responsibilities.
Yes.
Um,
I can imagine.
that's been the biggest, learning curve is man, it's just the constant influx of emails and the paperwork part of it. It's extremely time consuming, but all that has to get done for the music making part to happen.
Yes.
So that's kind of where we're at in that process right now. So
Well, that's so
yeah.
exciting. Your students are literally so lucky to have you because, like, you're hardworking, you're intentional, and just the way that you talk today, like, they obviously have such a great mentor, and the mentor
Thank
that
you.
they have has a great coffee cup too. So,
Oh yes, it's a cat. It's a cat.
oh,
It's a cat.
so
It's a cat
cute.
mug.
Love it. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Alan, for joining us today, or joining me, us, the
Yeah,
microphone, and
and a
myself.
cat or your dog. Your dog. Your
Yeah,
dog.
my dog, he's like literally ripping something right now, and I'm just trying to ignore it. So,
Yeah.
alrighty. Well, thank you so much. And your advice is definitely going to help some people. So, I hope that it's at least going to touch someone. It touched me. So, thank you so
Awesome.
much. I
Thank you for
really
having me.
appreciate it. Yes, of
All right.
course. Alrighty. Well, I'll talk to you soon. And thanks again for coming on.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in today to Coffee and Notes, and I hope Alan's talk inspired you like it inspired me today. Please subscribe and look for more videos coming soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.